it's a huge subject, much bigger than Bill Cosby.
Exactly.
So, and it's prevalent and insidious in society. We have a whole rape culture.
You ever take a woman to a club, she get involved with an argument with a guy bigger than you, and gonna look at you like you supposed to help her? Nobody's staring at me, I'm staring right back at her. We have a staring contest.
Welcome to Producer's Circle, the collaboration edition. Today we are featuring 5 lovely panelists that are Philly Camp members here.
Yes, you have an agency in America that is working outside the bounds of the Constitution.
Home, it's been an absolute labor of love to see how it's evolved and grown, and to see that there's still, a line at the door of students that want to be involved with it.
All other types of Greek music from every mountain, island, village, and city of Greece have been part of our Hellenic journey in America.
We have got to invest in our young people, in our communities. If we invested a fraction of the money in making sure that our young people had the education and the jobs that they needed.
The way green infrastructure works and the way it becomes cost effective is when you balance green infrastructure with other growth and development needs of a city.
We planted these beans about a month ago, and we've been watching them ever since.
Right here, this is my row, and this is his row.
Our children and theirs may never enjoy the rich diversity of life we take for granted. Fresh air and clean water may no longer be assured.
Right, the people who are most vulnerable and pay the greatest price for climate change have the least levers of power, have the least influence over policy.
100 years ago, this forest used to cover nearly half of Texas, before lumber became the state's largest export. And after that, forests were clear-cut to make way for oil fields and highways.
We're the same people, and we shouldn't be deported because we're leaving our homes, our family, our children.
Magrecita, magrecita buena, mi guadalupana. Viene hasta aquí, palomita blanca, a contarte todo, todo lo que a mí me pasa.
Way we will assimilate them into our community, because that's the way that they will understand we need to work together.
Y quiero dar el mensaje que inmigración no se da cuenta que está separando familias.
And when you look at a lot of the Africans that have come in, especially the Liberians, it's one of the largest African community here in the city. They've come from a war-torn country because of what has happened in the last 25 years.
The thing that I think is really painful about all this development is that it was all government money used to displace Chinese residents in a community that was already small and inhibited from growth.
I was 22 years old. I was rushed to the emergency room with a fever of 105 and blood poisoning. I had had an illegal abortion.
The country that is firme y feliz por la unión, an ancient land as diverse in its regions as it is in its peoples. Peru's story is one of struggle, strength, and overcoming the impossible.
I thought I was too radical for Philadelphia Now. And I hung around with groups that thought of feminism as a petty bourgeois deviation. Would you believe?
No. And the reaction was kind of all over the place. There was fears that women would become so sexually free within marriage that they would exhaust their husbands.
Women in several cities have since dressed up like sluts and marched to protest and to ridicule the idea that a hot outfit could justify sexual violence.
This is not just some abstract legal, stuff that's going on. The reason people should care about this is that they live now in a digital world. They live in a world that is in fact made up of copyrighted images.
Of all the strategies advertisers use to promote their products and point of view, sponsored educational materials are the most covert and manipulative form of marketing to gain entry into the classroom.
This doesn't have to do with the values of the company. It has to do with a marketing strategy where by identifying themselves as a family store, they are able to attract the entire family.
Speaking of Charlie's, we'd wait for him at the Charlie stop on the way home.
On the way home from work, we'd wait to greet Dad when he'd come home.
So he'd get off the Charlie, his boys were waiting for him.
Yeah.
We adored him, he adored us.
Hey, we must put into place some preventive measures, some impact assessments, some racial equity analysis, all of those things that exist in the world. But I don't know where in Philadelphia people are having a conversation on the front end about how do we protect the vulnerable in the midst of this onslaught.
The thing that Dick Clark copied from us is the intimacy between the regulars on the show and himself. They were really the stars of the show. What were we? We were pointers.
We could not go on the air without all of these people. So you had a building filled with people, and perhaps, 10% of the staff might be on the air?
Oh,
whatever.
yeah,
Even
that,
less
yeah.
of a percentage, but none of us could get on the air without these people.
If you want to be safe in a city, if you want to be safe in your neighborhood, and Philadelphia is a beautiful, large, and vibrant city, then you better care about the justice system and about what goes in and out of the prison.
On Friday, September 3rd, 2010, our 29-year-old brother Askia Sabor was waiting to pick up his dinner in his home community when he was assaulted by several members of the Philadelphia Police Department.
Food that we do harvest here is taken to food banks around the city to help feed the hungry, and so that gives me a feeling of accomplishment, knowing that somebody will benefit from what we do here.
The video you're about to see was developed by Image in an effort to help keep our youth and our young adults out of prison. These men want to share with you what prison life is like.
Anyway, we're going to hit the streets to see youth's reaction to the George Zimmerman verdict.
Check it out.
We call this Ban the Box not just a legislation, but it's a movement. It's a social movement. It's going to have impact on families, have impact on poverty, and it's going to have an impact on the recidivism rate.
Babies are born not hating nobody. They learn it from their parents. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I had a cousin. He passed.
Any of them got children?